very warm welcome to all of you at the first edition of the ET Auto Retail Forum presented by Car Dekho. Well, the ET Auto Retail Forum is an initiative of the Economic Times to create an opportunity for getting the manufacturers and the automobile dealers from across the country together on one platform. The motive really is to delve on challenges, opportunities, and threats faced by the automobile dealership community, and we are sure that the initiative will provide a networking platform for open communication and definitely give all our participants a chance to learn from one another. This is the first edition, and let me also tell you that the first time ever such an initiative has been taken up. And we are absolutely amazed and humbled at the kind of response the Economic Times endeavor has received. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin the event. But before we begin, we'd like to thank all our partners for supporting us. Special thanks to our presenting partner, Car Dekho, supporting partner, FADA, that's Federation of Automobile Dealers Associations, our sponsor, Track and Tell, and our knowledge support, PwC, that's PricewaterhouseCoopers. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin the event. And first and foremost, may I please call on stage the man behind this great initiative and also the editor of the ET Auto, Mr. Nabil A. Khan. Can I please request you to come on stage for the opening address? Let's please welcome him with a louder applause.
Thank you, Ani. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, leaders from the auto industry and dealer friends. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all at ET Auto Retail Forum 2016. As we progress during the day, I'm sure this glittering venue adorned with an assorted bouquet of speakers and industry experts will certainly endow us with good food for thought and a lot of learning to return with. Retailers are the front fascia, and they play a very pertinent role in making or breaking of a brand. And in case of automobile, dealers are the center stage. We are in a time when automobile industry is certainly going through disruptive changes with mega trends such as autonomous driving, electric vehicles, hybrids, shared mobility, etc. The way we used to travel, commute, has been changing drastically. In the last 2 decades, there was an increasing preference for owning vehicles. However, today's generation who wants to be more agile, lean, and tech-savvy may not have similar inclination. This shift has been reflecting in increasing popularity of taxi-hailing services and lease services, while some OEMs have started selling their vehicles directly to these taxi-hailing and fleet owners. Meanwhile, a number of digital platforms have sprung up who do not only play as a lead generator, but also claiming to be end-to-end vehicle sellers. If you look at the international market, some manufacturers are seeking ways to bypass dealers too, if you remember the Tesla case in the US. In Europe, a number of manufacturers have started selling their vehicles on their websites too. According to a report, 10 years ago, American car buyers used to visit at least 5 to 6 dealerships before making a purchase. And now, this number has come down to 1.6 dealerships on an average. The trend is similar elsewhere as well. The same report also says that car buyers in America find it boring, sometimes, sorry to say that, boring, autocratic, and confrontational to visit dealerships. Now, even if they visit dealerships, they already have decided which model they are going to buy, what kind of price they are going to pay through online research. Here back home too, we have seen automakers responding to the change in bits and pieces. Recently, a number of automakers have started taking bookings for their new launches through app and some online platform as well. Bookings While we have also seen a number of automakers have started cracking direct deals with the taxi hailing services like Ola and Ubers. In the US and some other countries, there are laws which almost makes it compulsory for automakers to sell vehicles via dealers. But in India, we probably do not have any such rule or law to protect the interest of dealer. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not have any intention to paint a scary picture for the dealer community, but I do want to raise an alarm against the impending challenges. We have to admit that technology disruption is certainly diminishing the role of auto dealers, at least in the current format. But a rightful use of technology and innovation can certainly turn the table. As Henry Ford said, if you think you can, if you think you cannot, you are correct either way. Dealers still remain a winner with an advantage of offering touch and feel experience, while workshop and repair remain in their hands. Human relations, personal connects will always serve in favor of traditional dealers. But the dealer community really need to gear up for faster adoption of technology and utilization of technology. Some dealers are experimenting with selling cars online or opening temporary pop-up showrooms in workshops in closer to the customers. Others are offering to bring cars to potential buyers to their houses and offices. Apart from these measures, dealers also need to make a strong digital presence and enhance customer experience at their dealership to provide compelling reason for the customer to visit their outlets. The more you engage your customer, the more you clearly understand the customer, and ultimately you know what you should be doing. The current situation will also demand an unprecedented level of collaboration with other stakeholders in the ecosystem like automakers, insurance companies, and finance providers. The current transformation gives huge opportunity for dealers to streamline their operations by removing non-value-adding functions and unlocking capital from redundant infrastructures. Our esteemed speakers today, through 4 panels and 3 exclusive presentations, will delve into unearthing the mantras for success in these challenging times. ET Auto, in an endeavor to keep the community engaged and updated, will continue to provide such more platforms and tools, both offline and online, in which, in continuation to this, we have developed ET Autolytics, a digital tools, first time in India, which can provide comprehensive data, information, trends, and forecast for the automotive industry in just one click. Wish you a very enriching experience. Thank you so much for your patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Nabil. We all know that this event wouldn't have been such a great success if your efforts weren't part of this. Thank you so much and congratulations once again. Moving on, let me introduce the first topic for a round of presentations by our key presenters. The first topic for today is customer acquisition and retention, cracking the right path. For this, may I please first invite on stage Mr. Sumit Sahni, CEO and MD, Renault India. Sir, may I please request you to kindly come on stage for the first presentation. May I also invite on stage Mr. Rakesh Srivastav, Senior Vice President, Sales and Marketing, Hyundai Motor India, to kindly come on stage. Mr. Rakesh Srivastav. May I also invite Mr. Vinod Agarwal, CEO, Volvo Eicher Commercial Vehicles. Sir, can we please have you on stage? Can we also have Mr. Vikram Pava, MD, Harley Davidson India, on stage, please? A big round of applause for all gentlemen, please. And last, can we also have Mr. KVS Prakash Rao, President, FADA, Federation of Automobile Dealers Association. First, we have Mr. Sumit Sahni,
Good morning, everyone. I assure you, madam, that I will be well within the time because I don't have a presentation. The topic is customer acquisition and retention. Today, we are seeing much bigger change in customer expectations. All of us know that. Even individually, we are, experiencing that every day. That customer expectation is more demanding. They want things much faster. But at the same point of time, one thing, so market being dynamic, the business being dynamic, the expectation being dynamic, one thing which is static is the human element in our business. Because buying car is the first biggest acquisition a person is doing in his life. The second is house. So it's a very emotional decision. It's a very important decision. And if we see country like India, car buying is a very interesting experience because all of us know car buying is just like a marriage proposal. When you have a marriage proposal, and you go out to see girl or a boy, the family is with you, and they see each and every element in that proposal. Exactly, that's the experience we see in our country, and especially when I see a country which is 18 cars over 1,000. The growth is largely going to come from tier 3 and tier 4 towns. We are still visiting dealership with family will continue. Metrocentric location, yes, we are seeing a lot of technology coming in, a digital, space getting a lot of attention, but technology will still remain a facilitator. It will not be beyond a point replacing an experience because we need that human touch. So if we talk about customer acquisition, we have to make sure that the business, what we are conducting, we are looking a long-term view. As I know, a lot of people in this room are dealer partners. This is a long-term business. And this is the business where you have to do hunting and farming together. You cannot do just hunting and you cannot do just farming. So our business is very interesting because our business is just not riding a horse, it's riding a chariot. So I still remember those days when we used to just sell cars. But now we have got 8 businesses in our business. And a successful dealer is a dealer who is managing all the 8 businesses, whether it is new cars, finance, insurance, after sales, accessories. So it is also becoming very complex from a management point of view. And to do that, you need right people to manage that. But coming back to the point of customer acquisition, it is largely hunting. We go out and we try to find customer. And in course of that, what we have seen is that customer expectation is high. So, if a customer today used to see an advert in newspaper and they used to visit the showroom and they used to visit again and again, but not anymore. They just give you one chance. So we need to have right people at our dealership. But the entire acquisition and retention starts with only one word, and that is culture. As few of you would have heard, a famous saying that culture eats strategy for breakfast. We can discuss today many strategies on how to acquire customer, but if the culture is not there in your organization, which is customer centric, you will never be succeeding. So culture flows from top, and all the dealers and our partners in business, you have to keep in mind that from top you have to build that culture of great customer experience. So we should prepare an ecosystem to manage that. With that, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, with that, let's move on to our next speaker for today, Mr. Rakesh Srivastav, Senior Vice President, Sales and Marketing, Hyundai Motor India.
Good morning. There's a saying, and the saying largely goes is that, may we live in interesting times, or may you live in interesting times. I believe we all are fortunate to live in interesting times. When you look at the auto industry, I think an industry which drives the GDP of our economy, of country, contributing almost around 6% of the GDP, with a volume of almost around 2.75 million in passenger cars and passenger vehicles, growing at the rate of almost around 8%, I think among the BRICS nations and also in terms of the world markets, this is one of the most promising market on the poise of becoming the third largest in the world. As Hyundai, every year we engage with customers. In our journey of 20 years, we've been able to create customers of almost 67 lakh customers, have been able to touch 4 crores of service customers. In these times, we are looking forward towards doing every month a volume of around 42,000 units. That means acquiring customers 40,000, 42,000 every month. We service almost 50 lakh vehicles every month. This all comes in with the philosophy of keeping the customer first. I think at the channel partner, the biggest demand that you need to make is on your principles. Because the acquisition starts from the principle first. In a relationship of ours, I think the biggest relationship in this and the biggest responsibility of any manufacturer is to provide good products. And the biggest responsibility of a channel partner is to provide customers for those products. If this relationship has to be understood well, then this grows. So in view of this, I think the biggest responsibility or the biggest tool or the biggest objective should be is in terms of acquisition of customers is to create good products. Well differentiated products, different products. Quality as a barometer will always be universal and will be also singular, always wanting to do high. But what is required is towards us that having well differentiated products. Products which are not ahead of times, but products which are ahead of the curve. And I think that is the biggest responsibility which manufacturers will have to play. And that responsibility has to be done at the level of the principles. Yes, while that is the responsibility at the level of the principle, but then acquisition also will be driven by way of service aspects, and in which the channel partners have to play a very, very leading role in terms of seeking new segments. When we say new segments, it could be rural market, it could be fleet sales, it could be Government of India customers or government employees, but these are the other part where the channel partners have to play a big role. Looking towards new segments, also new markets, the new geographies. Because India is developing and the prosperity is moving faster and faster towards the B cities, C and D and E class cities. It's a universal market, and with the coming of the GST, things will dramatically change in India. We are going to see a situation where if one singular market would emerge, and the biggest change will happen is in case of logistics. Taxation has to happen because part of GST, but the big change that will emerge will be in logistics. Today from Chennai to Delhi, if my vehicle has to reach on a trailer, it crosses 6 states boundaries. On 6 state boundaries, every state boundary there is a check. But with times and with the coming of GST, we feel there would be a free flow of goods, and the number of days reduced would help the channel partners in terms of managing their inventory cost as well. I think that is the biggest change that will come over there. While we are all looking towards the acquisition, the way of acquisition of the customer is changing. And I think that is the biggest difference that is coming over in the marketplace. There was a time when almost around 60% of sales used to happen on walk-in customers. The days are gone by now. In these times today, in our showrooms we experience that 30% of the sales happen through walk-in customers, rest 70% you have to go and seek them. Yes, earlier it was that physically you sought them by way of sending your people, doing events, activities, but that has changed as well. It has moved to the virtual world, the digital world. And that's the reason a big initiative has been taken towards ensuring, enabling, guiding the channel partners in terms of seeking customers towards the virtual world by way of their own websites. I think digital is the way, virtual is the way, and we have to realize the real aspect of it. As principals, I think we will have to guide our channel partners in doing it, because we have the technology and we have the resources and we have to enable it. And thank you again. Thanks.
Next, can we please have Mr. Vinod Agarwal, CEO, Volvo Eicher Commercial Vehicles here.
Very good morning, and I'm extremely pleased to be part of this ET Auto Retail Forum 2016. You know, most important in case of the trucks is the value for customer, because these products are for running the business of the customer. Now, when you are running the business of the customer, basically what he is concerned about is that what value he is getting from these products in his business. And for that, most important is we have to discover the value for the customer, that what is the value these products will deliver for the customer. And then of course, demonstrate that value, and then deliver that value, and then over the lifetime of this product, sustain that value. So 3 Ds and 1 S, I think these are the most, you can say, the critical points for this, acquiring the customer and retaining it over the lifetime of the customer. And when you discover the value, of course, you have to understand the stated needs as well as the unstated needs. For example, in case of trucks, we have to understand that what is the customer business is, and what are the challenges that he is facing in the current business, and how our product, or when we sell a truck to him, how that truck will solve those challenges that he is facing. For example, in the cement transportation, for example, for him, the thing will be the cost of ownership, or how much is the cost per ton per kilometer of the cement that he is carrying in the trucks. So like that, I will give you a few examples in my subsequent slides. Similarly, when you start talking to him, then of course you have to demonstrate that value, that these trucks will give that value to him. That could be done through trials, or through showing him all the products, or giving the product with him for 2-3 months so that he can see the product. So that is how you have to go and demonstrate that to him. And then of course you have to deliver. When you deliver, then you have to show him the performance actually. When he buys the truck, then you have to work with him again to ensure that what we have stated at the time of sale, is he getting that value or not. And then of course over the lifetime you have to sustain that value so that he again buys your truck again, because the trucks are maybe after a replacement cycle of 4 or 5 years, he will again buy the truck. So you have to have that relationship so that after 4 years or 5 years, he comes back to you and buys that truck again. So this is what is cracking the right path, 3 Ds and 1 S. Thank you very much for your patient listening. I'm extremely happy to be part of it.
Moving on, may I please invite Mr. Vikram Pava, MD, Harley Davidson, India.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to start with the centerpiece here, which is the customer itself. So the question at the top there says, do you know your customer? Right? A very valid question. I'm sure we do a lot of research, and I'm sure we've got quite a few consultant friends here as well who do a lot of research on consumers as well. So yeah, we know a lot of things are happening out there in the industry, okay? And if I talk about a few of them, not all of them, we know that the retail world is changing at a much faster pace. We also know the customers' expectations are climbing like anything, right? Those are the realities of life. We also know in the recent year, there are plenty of global lifestyle brands that have arrived in India, and people are engaging with them. They're trying out new things. And we see that what people are looking for is real lifetime experiences. That's what they're looking for. They're not looking for a transaction anymore. It's a lifestyle experience they're looking for. So yeah, we know that, okay? But the question really is, can you be your own customer? Sounds odd? You can be? Okay, that's good. I never heard that before, because whenever I ask this question, people say, what the hell are you talking about? How can a seller be its own customer? Right? It's kind of a, it doesn't fit in the mind so easily. But you're right. Actually, if you go through in detail, it does work. For us, how does it work? I can tell about that. For us, it works. We live like our customer. We ride with our customer. We ride like them. So we do what they do in their daily life. That's exactly what we do. Example is there right on your screen there. That's me riding with my customers in one of the rallies. I do that more often than what I'd be doing in my meetings, actually. So that is our centerpiece for us at Harley-Davidson, just as an example for you. So the question really, what you need to ask yourself is, can you be your customer? All right? That's the first question I'm going to leave you with. The next one, we're going to move it into is more towards like, what is the price of customer loyalty? You would have heard of that. And we heard a little bit today about, retention of customer in the after-sales department and everything else. And I know all of us fall into that trap of making customer relation a special department, which is either part of after-sales or marketing, right? And that's their function. So what is the message we are passing on to the organization? Yeah, it's an important function, but not as important as getting the footfalls into the showroom and making sales, right? So what you've got to ask yourself is, what price are you ready to pay actually to gain that customer loyalty? Are you ready to go all the way? Both at the OEM level and at the retail channel level. It's not easy. Because one thing we know for sure by research, I think and each and every one of us knows this, and I'm going to read it out here verbatim from the research itself, saying that there is ample evidence to suggest that people will make long-term commitments to the companies that succeed in delivering a consistently extraordinary customer experience. I'll repeat one line of it. Companies that succeed in delivering a consistently extraordinary customer experience. The key words here are consistent, extraordinary, and experience. And what is the trap we fall into? Measuring customer satisfaction. They're kind of contradictory, remember that. Okay? In real terms, what we feel is that, as brands and retail channels combined, we need to really focus on this thing. And ask that questions to ourselves together, saying that, are we ready to go all the way for the customer experience or not? So are we ready to pay that price? Okay? You with me on that? So I'm leaving two questions out there. Can you be your own customer? And are you ready to pay the price for customer loyalty? Okay. Now, about the path, because it's all about the path we spoke about, right? Although I don't like the word path, but still I'll stick to it for the time being. So now for that, I'll tell you the story as how Harley-Davidson does it. Okay? So for us, the first point of that path is actually a dealership. This is where we believe, based on the interaction that a customer has with the dealership, is where the lifetime relationship are cemented. And that's why we call it the point of trust. This is where the trust gets formed. And this is that experience that shapes our entire operations, actually. This is from where it starts and shapes it up entirely. Because for us, it's not a brand that you can just explain. It has got to be felt, be it the sound of our motorcycles, the experience of riding them, or the quality of it, or the, kind of individualism of each and every bike like that. So for that, it has to be combined with those personalized experiences that the dealership gives us all. It has to be a combination. It cannot be contradictory to that. That's why you'll be amazed that actually none of our dealerships look the same. They may have the same elements, but they don't look the same. They're all individual dealers, individual dealerships, like every Harley-Davidson bike is actually an individual bike. It's not a mass-produced one. So what happens is those customers, because they're looking at individualism, right, they connect with the dealership much better because they're able to kind of project their own self-actualization and look forward to the dealership to respond to that. And that's how that exchange of personal experience takes place. In addition to that, it actually extends not only, or not stops only at the dealership, it actually extends even beyond that. So any event that a dealership does is very, very personalized as well for the customers. So I'll give you another example there. Every dealership in the country that we have has got a lounge. And by lounge, I don't mean a waiting area. Remember that. This is like a personal space for the customers to come in and spend time with their like-minded riders. It's their personal den, actually. And this den, actually, we call it as the hog. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Next, may I please invite Mr. KVS Prakash Rao, President, Federation of Automobile Dealers Associations.
Good morning, friends. Now, before going forward on this topic, what I thought is I will just go a bit back what it used to be and what it is now. And what was the market scenario in the early 1900s is that we had very few brands per category and very few models per brand and absolutely no variants per model and therefore very less choice for customer. So what was the role of the dealer then? It was order booking mostly. Now when you forward it to the 2000s, what has happened is there are now many brands per category and even more models per brand and there are countless variants per model and therefore very wide choice for customers. Now what's the role of the dealer now? There's a paradigm shift in the way dealer has to operate. There's a paradigm shift in the function of a dealer from just being an order booking a location to promoting and stocking and etc. etc. And there's a paradigm shift in the process of acquisition from customer at the dealership to the dealership at the customer place or doorstep. And there's also a paradigm shift in the customer retention from just servicing to exploring lifetime value of customers. So, but there are a lot of challenges we are, as dealers, obviously, we face today in the marketplace. And so I like to touch upon a few of those challenges. And dealerships mean physical infrastructure. And today what's happening is you have the virtual world. Earlier, competition for a dealer meant another dealer of another brand or a dealer of the same brand within his town. But now competition is coming from different quarters, which is largely from the e-commerce players. Offering test drives, performance reviews, testimonials, which once upon a time were the functions of a dealership, have become revenue stream for e-commerce companies. There are a lot of traditional paths to customer acquisition. But going forward, I think the whole host of speakers in front of me were talking about digital. So the same thing is happening even with our auto retail space. And the opinion of the dealership fraternity at large is that anything to do with online presence, social media, e-commerce, is the domain of the auto principle. And at FADA, we recognized this, and then we partnered with Google, and we embarked upon a program to build auto dealers' perspective on the need for them to build their online presence and how they can do it with very small budgets. Social media is a very powerful tool, and it not only helps you keeps your dealership connected with your customers, but also gets you connected with your prospective customers. Classifieds as a concept is not new, but with the advent of online classifieds, the connect between the prospect searching for a product and the seller has further narrowed down. Vehicle exchange program, again, this is not a new concept, but it is important that each of the dealership has an in-house exchange program. And there are some organizations and there are some brands which have actually been doing a great job. Maruti with its True Value, and Hyundai with its Advantage, and Honda with Auto Terrace, and of course Eicher with Eicher Show for commercial vehicles. This gives the dealerships access to first-time buyers and also helps them in acquiring upgraders. And we were talking about reach. In fact, One of the things which now looks important is that the customer is no more willing to travel far to physically view the product. Therefore, it is important to have expanded touch points, and it helps in largely connecting with the first-time buyers. And there's a need for manufacturers to evolve India-specific touchpoint models, which call for low investments, which will thereby enable dealerships to expand their physical reach further. And that's a small clip of an article, Carless Showrooms Through Digital Dealership Soon. So this is piloted by one of the manufacturers in Chennai. And the key element, again, we were talking about, the previous speakers were talking about culture and people matter in the dealerships. And dealerships will continue to be preferred as a touch point since expert advice will not always be available online. And competence of human resource will continue to be a major element of competitive advantage for dealership. And this calls for talent that is trained for automotive requirement. Now we have, fortunately, ASDC, which is Automotive Skill Development Council, which exactly aims to do that. And dealers can become training partners, and so that they can build a strong and continuous talent pipeline. Therefore, in a nutshell, of course, I forgot to mention that some of the dealers have taken initiatives, and case in point is dealer JS Four Wheels in Alwar, Rajasthan. They've started Aadharshila, a school for automotive learning. And many dealers have been doing this of late. So in a nutshell, the paths to customer acquisition are being present online and in social media, and having an extended physical presence, and having expert manpower. So I think the key word is expert manpower. And of course, also having vehicle trade-in in-house. So now moving to customer retention, I think once again, there's a challenge. What is customer retention for auto dealer is customer acquisition for a whole host of firms. Example, windshield experts and oil change centers. So for them, it is customer acquisition, whereas for us, we need to retain our customer. So they are targeting the dealership traffic. And there are a lot of intermediaries coming in between the customer and the dealership, like Book My Service, AutoMD, etc. And they are trying to become the first touch point for the customer. There are also multi-brand service centers competing with the dealership for service business. Now, all these result in lowering the customer engagement at the dealership, and thereafter retention too. And in the age of smartphones, it's important that the services of the dealerships are available on the customer phone through a dedicated app. Following are some of the leading examples of some leading dealers doing this. There's Bimal Auto Bangalore, and United Group in Allahabad, and Popular Group in Kerala. So that is how they are engaging with their customers. And if a dealership does not do this, it's most likely to lose the customer because of a third-party app which will offer this solution. In fact, I was approached by a startup which intended to map all the dealership workshop days, and through which a customer can actually book his appointment, like you book your movie ticket. So these are the kind of players which are coming in. And I think as dealers and manufacturers, it's important that we actually sit together and evolve models which are cost-effective and easy to implement. So with that, I close my presentation. Thank you.
With that, I open this round to our lovely audience who's been so patient.
You have a very small universe of customers for your bikes, and how do you track your prospect, and how do you acquire it?
Yeah, you're right. It's a small universe of current riders. That's correct. But when I look at it, okay, if I look at an Indian context, actually everybody is a rider at heart. So we all learn how to ride when we are young. We all love riding. Although for commuting, yes, we do. So for me, everybody is actually a prospect. Now, how do I acquire them is give them respect when they're ready to actually take that plunge into getting into riding for leisure. So I have to make sure that there are enough avenues available for them to try that out first. And then when they're ready, there are all those infrastructure available for them to switch over and get into ledger writing. That's the only thing. I don't chase them. I don't go after that typical, yes, inquiries are important, no doubt about it, for business, no doubt about that. I don't say they're not. But that's not the primary thing. The primary thing is, are there enough experiences or not for them to try out first?
I'm representing a firm called Indus Motors from Kerala. My question mostly isn't it high time that OEMs recognize Google, for example, as a platform to ensure that the inquiries are hitting the right, like, okay, Kadeco, I'm not saying it's not the right source, isn't hitting the, what do you call it? For example, a Hyundai search is going to a Hyundai website. What's the OEM's perspective on that angle?
First, let me congratulate you for being the single largest auto dealer in India, right? And a big round of applause to you.
Thank you.
Right? Because I wish all my dealers were of your size. That would have been great for us, right? But yes, we'll work towards it, right? Yes, the industry is changing, and that's the reason where when I was speaking on that, the way we are acquiring customers is definitely changing. But in an industry like this, I think the biggest thing that we need to do is accept anyone that is coming, accept the change, not counter it by way of saying that I'm going to make a better digital world or a virtual site or a website around. Everyone has got a role to play. Let's accept them. Let's grow with them. Because your prime responsibility as a channel partner is to give the customer an experience largely towards the service aspect. Because the products over a period of time are getting highest level of assurance from the manufacturers by way of quality. So where does your role come in? Largely through the experience. And friend, let me tell you one thing. Whatever happens on the website, you cannot repair a car on the website. Right? You cannot attend to the service on the website. So don't worry about that. Just worry about it exactly is that how are we going to give that right experience, accept them as part of the family, and they are actually bringing in value. Because there are customers that are not known to you, and at some point of time, even they are helping you reduce your costs in terms of manpower or putting up infrastructure. Over a period of time, if you partner them, I think your profitability would be far higher than what it is exactly. Never take them as a threat, take them as a friend. That's where it is. Yes.
I would add to that, rightly said, I truly agree to you that we have to partner them, and we have partnered, and we only saw incremental sales. We never saw, what do you call it? And like you said, I think we'll have to adapt to change, accept it, and then concentrate more on experience than acquisition. And we will accept people like Kadeco, like you clearly said. And we will move forward with times, and I hope we continue as a single largest dealer. Thank you.
I do see that. Thank you.
Great. I'm afraid we're running out of time, so we'll take the last question there.
Yeah, sir. Ketan here. Ketan from ET Paper. Just to supplement to his question, so there is a lot of pressure on the dealers to push on the online platform. Then, of course, the Kardecos and the Carwalis are going to use us as a platform to grow themselves, and OEs have their own platform. So is there a need for a convergence, or all three parties working together to ensure that, from the customer standpoint, all three of us are in a win-win position? From the dealer standpoint, the challenge is the viability is a big challenge. Almost 90% dealers, Fada can correct me if I'm wrong, are struggling. Only 10% of them who are growing can, invest in something like an online platform. So in this online disruption that we are seeing, how do you ensure a sort of, commonization of a platform wherein everyone can win there? And do you think the OEM needs to take responsibility there?
Ketan, I'll just take this. We are living in a democracy, and everyone should have a voice, right from the channel partner to the dealer partner to the other partners in this. The key part that comes over is the communication or the content that is coming in. It needs to be validated. And that is where, over a period of time, everyone will start playing a singular role. Manufacturers would play a role in terms of validating the content that is being generated, right? In addition to that, the online platforms are also going to bring in the comparative part. As an OEM, I can talk about my product, but I really can't talk about a competitor product. I think that is where the value addition will come in from the online platforms. And finally, it will be the dealer, right, who will make the connect with the customers. So everyone has got a role to play in it. What we need to look forward towards exactly is that it should be a universal role, collective role, and a total role, finally leading to more and more customers.
But do you think it is challenging because everyone is doing on its own? Is there a need for a convergence wherein all can kind of, because it's win-win for everyone, it's business for everyone, right?
This is win-win for everyone because it's just the industry is just emerging. Over a period of time, new role plays would come in, new responsibilities, and it would evolve. But I think the best thing that is happening is these platforms are evolving along with the manufacturers, the OEMs, as well as with the channel partners. That is the good part, that yes, we are hand in glove today, right, in terms of interacting with the customers. I think that's a better part, not that we are fists at each other and trying to box out each other. That's